everybody talks about weight management, but nobody's really taken a deep dive into what that is. What are lessons that you learned about it that you think like you can pass down to wrestlers at the high school level or below that could really help them?
What are the lessons I learned? Well, first off, my junior and senior year of high school, I didn't cut any weight. Now, when I was 125 pounds as a freshman, I cut a little bit of weight, but I didn't go down to 119, which I could have made 119. But it's not about cutting weight. I think I hear one of the kids call my name, taking weight. And then moved up to 145 and cut it, I think, probably like 7 pounds then. But even postseason, after the state tournament, we had a duels the next week, and like I was growing, so I moved up to 52. Right then, just a weekend after state. Then I went 71, 89 without cutting weight. So that was awesome for me, and I think the kids and the parents need to know. And I think that was something I fought my dad on. I was like, Dad, I'm not big enough to, move up, And he was just like, no, just, hey, I'll worry about, the strength and conditioning and stuff like that. You worry about the rest, the wrestling. And so just kids being able to trust the people, their coaches, their parents, that this is what's best for you. And just allowing them to grow in the sport. Just the love of it, the technique, and learning those things instead of, I have to cut weight. I see Jordan Burroughs tweeting, he's talking about, when you take care of your weight, that's more time you get to work on your skills than rather you're working on, I gotta get my weight down. You know what I mean? And your mind's not where it's not as crisp as it should be when you're cutting weight. And so that's just one of the things that just focused on taking care of the nutrition so that when it comes time for practice, because I know that my last 2 years of high school, I had so much fun wrestling because I wasn't worried about, I have to do this, I can't eat this, it was just like, all right, just eat a balanced diet, and go out, wrestle, learn technique, and you'll be fine.
When you were in college, what was ideal? What were the benchmarks you wanted to hit for a week, leading up to a competition?
I never hit them until my senior year, and so that was one of the things I think could have played into my career. Even though I was a two-time All-American before my senior year, I think my sophomore year I was a small 97, coming off the shoulder surgeries and things like that. So I didn't have weight issues that year. But my junior year, I was fluctuating between like 215, taking that down to 197 every week, taking off 18 pounds instead of being at like the NCAAs. After the NCAA finals, I was 203 pounds, and I think we could have weighed in that day at 200 maybe. So I didn't get huge, I wasn't 215 pounds in the NCAA finals. My body was lean, it was ready to go, and I was like 200, I was like 203, I had only gained like a little bit before the NCAA finals, so I wasn't like huge, and I think that's things like, I have to cut all this weight so I can be big, like, you don't get to be big at all on the last day, except for the last day of the tournament, like, that's not what's winning you. That's not what's getting you there. You know what I mean? And so I think my junior year, when I was spending an hour and a half extra at night cutting 7 pounds to get my weight back down and staying up till 12 o'clock cutting weight instead of sleeping and resting when that's the time I should be sleeping and wrestling, I think that is something that could have factored into maybe me losing a little bit of the love of the sport and not accomplishing my goals a little bit earlier.
Did you feel any different when you were out there your senior year versus your junior year?
Yeah, I felt a lot different. I felt more locked in. I felt quicker, and I don't feel like I felt like a big strength difference. I think my body was at a weight that was trained to be down there, nutrition down the right way, and just felt relaxed. Didn't have to worry about it. Like, I know the Friday night after the NCAA finals, it was like they grab you. You got to go do this interview. You got to go pick out your song to walk out to. You have to do all this stuff, and then by the time you're done with all that, you're like, if you have to cut weight after that, you're just exhausted. And I told myself, I was like, after I was done with all that, I was like, I'm not cutting weight. Like, I don't care. I'll do what I have to do in the morning, but I'm not cutting weight. But I went back to the room and I was only a pound over, so I could sleep that off and I'd be fine. You know, whereas the year before, the second day of the tournament, I had to cut 7 pounds to get back down for the next morning. And like, it's just, I don't feel like it's conducive to feeling your best. And you still have to compete, but I don't think like it puts you in your best situation.
What kind of things did you change between years? Did you change your diet at all, or did
Nutrition?
You?
Yeah, it was a big part. Was working with the nutritionist every week or every other week, just going in there, writing down what I'm eating, journaling, the things that I'm putting in my body. But that was the biggest part of it. It was just nutritioning down and taking care of those things, so that when it came time to step on the mat, I was confident that I did everything in my power to make sure I was ready to go.